All right. I'm here with my good friend, Sameer Bhangar. Sameer and I were chatting up yesterday, and Sameer, I'll give a quick introduction of Sameer, and then I want Sameer you to introduce yourself. Sameer, I've known Sameer for almost 25 plus years. He's at Microsoft. He runs the customer advisory board for Microsoft for the Power Platform. Sameer, take it away. Tell me more about yourself. Tell me about who you are. Who is Sameer?
Yeah, that's a big question. But yeah, I think Vivek, we've known each other since before I had, white hair here, or maybe even before I had a beard. But in terms of intro, yeah, I'm on the Power Platform. I've been on what's called the PowerCat team, a custom advisory team for Power Platform, Copilot Studio. Now, sort of extending that to also includes, what we think of as these more high-touch community engagements. That includes Dynamics 365 as well. So that's in terms of my role and what I've done. Without going into too much background, it's my second stint at Microsoft. I was there earlier in several engineering roles and then left and came back in a
Is that the
in
sabbatical? Is that the sabbatical I see on LinkedIn that where you took a break?
and Vivek, my mic just decided to turn off, but it's back on
That's
again.
fine. It's back on. I was saying, is that the sabbatical you decided to take in between?
That was, and Vivek, you have to give me, sorry, my external speaker batteries are dying, and 30 seconds and fixing it.
That's all
Okay,
right.
I'm back on. Sorry
We
for
got
that.
we gotta have some technical glitches. If two techie bros talking and not having a technical glitch won't be a lot of fun, will
Yeah,
it? Is
you
it?
you'd you'd think that I'd remember to charge my external speaker. What the heck?
That's all right. Good.
I think you can
Yeah.
hear me because my mic is working, but I can no
Yeah,
longer
yeah.
hear
We can
you.
hear you fine. We can hear
So
you fine.
I'm going to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
on
That's good.
fixing this.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can multitask. I'll keep asking you a question. So tell me, so you run the customer advisory board for Power Platform? Tell me,
Yeah, when we
yeah.
say me, it's a team. I do have the. Hey Vivek, sorry man, I'm gonna have to. This thing keeps dying on me, so I can't hear you. Give me like literally
Okay.
30 seconds, and I'll get this thing fixed back up.
Okay. Take your time. Take your time. See
Yeah.
if you can get it fixed. And while you're
But
working on
meanwhile,
it,
you can tell folks what you think about customer advisory boards. I know you have
well,
some
we
thoughts.
can. I have my own opinion about customer advisory boards, but that's all right. Uh, you know, it's a good thing to listen to your customers. That's kind of like I'll start there. So while you can figure out, we'll give you another few minutes to figure out while I think it'll just. Mhm. Let's see. Uh, I gotta tell a dad joke while we wait for him. All right. Uh, da, 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 da. All right. Da, da. All right.
Okay.
Let's kind of. Are you good?
Yes. All right,
We're
let's
back.
try it again.
All
So
right. We're
sorry about
good,
that.
bro.
Yeah.
No worries. No worries. No worries. Tell me what do you do? Go for it.
Yeah. So I've been since every like once a year, twice a year, we get customers together to kind of in this customer advisory board, and that I've been part of that for Power Platform. And Vivek, man, I have to keep apologizing. I don't know why this thing keeps crashing on me. So sorry about
That's fine.
that. I need to come back because I can't hear you at the moment. I'm gonna go get headphones and then be back.
Okay.
Might
Yeah,
fix
yeah,
it.
that's fine. That's fine. No worries. All right, we're gonna have some. That's all right. This is the first time we're doing this, so I gotta get better at this. But that's fine. That's fine. We don't have any actual viewers right now. We're just only recording, so it's all right. It's not that we have to just splice this out. I was trying to figure out so that I don't have to splice this. Da. We just I gotta do some more splicing on the recording. Fuck, gotta do more work. I mean, I was trying to do one shot. I mean, just like, uh, you know, uh, you've seen that shirt thing from Bill O'Reilly on YouTube. Let me see. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. Bill O'Reilly. Right, let's do it live. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Have you? That's it. If you've not seen this, if you've not seen this episode, this is one of the best ones. Fuck it, we do it live. That he goes on a rant.
What separates great thinkers and the
Yeah,
okay thinkers isn't talent. It's what they do with their time.
this is the
That's
bigger.
tomorrow. And that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know.
There you go.
Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but now I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay.
There's no
Ready?
words on it.
Sure.
There
There's
you
no
go.
words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do, it's a video, Sting video.
What is?
For credits.
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5.
He's getting
4,
annoyed.
3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it.
I can't do it.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
Fuck it.
No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
There we go.
Fucking thing sucks.
There we go.
5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
There we go. That's the fun part of we doing it live. We'll wait for. There we go. He's annoyed, dude. It is so good. I love that. I love that scene. So, all right.
I hear the British are sending another 5,000 troops.
How will we ever win this war?
All right. We'll wait for Sammy to come back, and then we'll get kickstarted. So let's see. Hi, Dinette. You know, we have just have the crew. We're just like you, me, and one Sri Lankan and 3 Indians trying to put a show together. It's just us. I have to splice all this shit out. I have to delete all this shit. So anyway, while you're there, let me just entertain you guys, because Karthik doesn't make any money, and Dinette is trying to make money and is not able to make money. It's my stand-up comedy. There we go. Let's do a stand-up comedy right now where you guys can't speak and only hear me, and I gotta keep talking so that so that you gotta do something. Let's see how this StreamYard works. Yeah, there we go, dude. I can put Dinette's comments online, do all this shit. Like, yeah, dude. There we go. Exactly. Yeah, Dinette thinks it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a delay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, actually, good point there. There might be a delay. Yeah, dude. Oh, shit. There's somebody in question for also loading. We're trying to do a live show that is actually not working. Roasting me online. Exactly. I gotta start roasting Karthik also. Karthik, you should get on the post and start roasting you. There you go. You showed up at the on stage, so I can start roasting.
Yeah, dude.
You're the producer, dude. You should be fucking fixing this problem. There we go, dude. All right, I'm gonna kick you out.
Okay, let's see if this works now.
Let's take 3 or whatever. While you were gone, I was just entertaining other people with random YouTube clips. So, all right. How's the mic doing now?
So what's going on here?
We'll record the whole thing. We'll figure.
You guys can hear me,
Yes,
but
I can.
my speaker keeps randomly dying on me. So I don't know if it's a Bluetooth thing.
Can I buy you a fucking new computer?
I'd love that. So give me
That-
just a second again, just to make sure it's all good.
I love it. Guy works at Microsoft for 20 years. He needs a new computer from me. That's the cheap bastard that he is. I thought I was cheap. No, he's cheaper. That's the problem. All right. Well, we will wait for Sammy to come back. All right. Well, let me see what other things I can do to entertain everybody. Well, there's not that many people, so you know. You gotta make a joke. Yes, I'm learning so much. Question Pro thinks it's learning so much. I don't know who in Question Pro is it. I have no idea who's logged into the Question Pro account. I have no idea, but we'll find out. Actually, you can just post your name on the comment, on the YouTube comment. I guess the LinkedIn comments work. The YouTube comments work. All right. That's Karthik is on that side. There we go. Mhm. Let's see. Mhm. All right. Big Microsoft tech support. There you go, dude. That's it. That's the right attitude. You know, we got a bunch of tech CEOs can't uh, get their speaker set up together. That's all right. Mm-hmm. Actually, if you show the comments on stage, let's see. I think as the comments come in, there's a new setting over here directly on the stream. Okay, let's see. As the comments come, it'll show up on the video recording, I guess. So let's try that out. Let's got these kind of setups. It's not bad actually. Different layouts you can set up. Not bad. Mm-hmm. You can set him on solo layout, set somebody else on solo layout. Not bad. Solo layout. Sorry, Karthik, for wasting your time, bro. I thought this would be much simpler, but I guess we're not ready yet. It's good. Dinette is the only fucking viewer, I guess. So, yeah, exactly. Work in progress. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna give it another 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and if it doesn't work out, we'll just end it. We'll retake it at some other point. We'll do it next week. But I think we've done something. We can just jam it out there, at least for the recording, so we can get it done. Mm-hmm. Oh, there you are. It's coming in direct. That's right. So the comments can come direct in. All right. All right. There we do have somebody else from LinkedIn. Danielle, Tariq. There you are. Well, obviously this is a live stream fail, but let me see if I can keep entertaining everybody for another 6 minutes and see. There we go. Bossman is back. Bossman is back. Oh my god, this is gonna be awesome, dude. That's all right. All right, cool. Is the recording everything good to go? Can we go online? Well, we are online anyway. So, well, we've been streaming. I've been trying to keep everybody busy while we fix everything. So, take 3. Let's do it. Samir, tell me more
So
about yourself. Who are you?
yeah, as I was saying, I mean, it's been really fun going from being more of, I would say sometimes in the bowels of the platform, Windows platform, and back end systems, to then being more on the front end, um, trying to organize what customer advisory boards look like. But more than that, I mean, honestly, Vivek, I would say it's how do we create these connections between our customer base and our teams, our product leaders. I mean, I definitely, I was reflecting on this chat and thinking about you, right? You run a successful organization. I bet you've got obviously a number of customers. Like, how do you connect with them? How do you
Wow.
connect and build relationships with your
Yeah.
customers?
That's a good point. So, I'll tell you a little bit about Question Pro. So, we do a lot of events, in-person events,
Yeah.
right? So that's our mechanism of really connecting with our customers. In-person events, right? We run an event in every single market that we're in. So that's kind of one mechanism. Um, uh, but Microsoft is kind of like an interesting, kind of big kind of organization. You have a lot of stakeholders on the inside, from marketing to product to all kinds of things. And you are already you are at the intersection point between your internal stakeholders and your external customers, realistically. So that's kind of the from your definition, are you creating a community? What are you trying to do? How do you define that? What is it that you're trying to do for Microsoft?
Yeah, I think, and we sit, my role, we sit within the engineering team, and then as
Mhm.
there are a number of teams and that interface with customers in all kinds of ways. I think at a very simple level, especially when we're driving newer improvements in the tech space, which is always the case. I think
Mhm.
these sort of long-term customers that we have relationships with, they become the ones, they serve sort of multiple purposes. I think they're the ones who are really using the stuff. So there's
Mhm.
what do things look like in the real world, actually on the ground, and getting that insight in a direct way, in a way that they can come and share with our own product leadership in a more direct way, super super valuable, right? And that's in a unfiltered, super direct way, which they could say, here's what's actually working, here's what's not working. um, the next is
Got it.
they also are the same group often, which is then, because we have these longer term trusted relationships and they're thinking of innovation, they're the ones to maybe try out some of the new capabilities. So when
Mm.
they're trying out newer stuff, and especially now when things are changing so quickly, stuff initially when it gets released, it's going to need a few iterations to get better and better. And I think we
Mm.
lean, if at all, I would say, what when you
There's
ask
like a
what.
beta program. Is that how you guys think about it? It's like a early release beta program. They are
Yeah, so
participating in
there's,
an early release.
when you ask me, I'll say that's how we, or the broader we, how Microsoft thinks about it, and then there's how I might think about it in my one space. And I think there are many many interesting programs, whether they're pre-release programs, beta programs, early adopter programs, technical adoption programs. I think they have many names. Um,
Mm.
at one hand, the question I keep asking myself and the team is, what's the ongoing kind of combined set? When you say community, what's the set of human beings that are going to be stay with us along this journey? And then from that, yes, they'll participate in programs. So we might learn about them through a program, through a engagement where we're more directly connected with them. But over time, to me at least, the value of all of them being connected, not just with us as in me or my team, but really connected with our own product leaders, and even more so is connected with each other. Because I think the amount, like you've probably seen, when an event, especially an in-person event like a cab meeting, is going well, it's honestly what they're sharing with each other, and it's both
Right.
things. There's no possible way for us to, we can imagine things, but when we actually bring them together in a room and they're sharing their thoughts and ideas with each other, the amount that we learn. And I think that's true broadly speaking, not just Microsoft or our team. And
Right. Right. Right.
yes, what we're trying to do is kind of cultivate more of that, both in terms of specific events, like maybe a customer advisory board meeting, but how do we do that on a more consistent basis
How
on
often do you
demand?
guys meet? How often do you guys meet?
Twice a year is when we have our like main customer advisory board meetings in different
Right.
locations. But then it gets nuanced because we have various different groups and forums where there are meetings that happen a lot more frequently. So
And then digitally, do you meet every week, every month, every day? What is the cadence? I'm pretty curious.
yes to all. Okay, let me give you an example. Right before this meeting, right, and before my
Mm,
speaker issues over here, we were chat. I had one of our long-term customers from G&J Pepsi come and chat with my team, right? And he shared his story. He talked about, we had some people from the product team on it. He talked about some of the newer, both what he's doing and what he's some of his challenges, right? What do you call that?
mm.
Do you call that like a meeting? Like, is that one of those frequent things?
But
It's
that's a
just a
one-on-one that they are coming to you, really. That you're setting up a single meeting. He's just kind of, he feels that he can come and share his experiences with Power BI or Power Platform, whatever,
yep,
the
yep,
product, and he's kind of engaging with you. Like, here's the larger thing I'm trying to do. Here's what's working, is not working, and
yep. So
he
take
kind of
that,
brings you.
yeah. So take that as that could have been five people in the room, right? Eric
Right.
and someone else, and it would be, at what point does it going from just a one-on-one to now sort of a meeting, to then if you have 20 people in a room, maybe it's a called something else. But the point being is that if you have these long-term kind of connected communities, then there's all kinds of activity, and it's not just me or some specific people. And certainly when we talk about cab, I'm just speaking to you now, but there's a whole team and bunch of us who do a bunch of activities. But when you've got like that cohesive group, it just
Mm.
becomes, I don't know whether you call it like a platform or something. It becomes a place where you can lean into for all these activities. So the quick thing may be, hey, what we want to talk to this customer that does this. How can we set up something quickly? That might be a one-on-one. It might be a frequent meeting. So that's one
Mm.
side. The other one is, yes, there are of course weekly meetings, monthly meetings in different forums, but it starts to get, once you go across all of our different programs and options, that tends to get quite big.
How big when you guys started off? What was your goal? Did you guys have any metrics around? We want the customer community to be 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people.
There are
What did
probably
you kind of?
goals on, there's a broad public community, which is my sister teams. And those, of course, we want to get them, the bigger, the better. I would say for my particular team's focus, it's more, I don't know whether to say, it's select folks who are the right people, and we grow that as it makes sense. There isn't really, at least I don't have a very specific numbers. It's more the quality, like all of the customers that meet a certain criteria, a certain level of adoption. It'd be great to have the right individuals from them in these more select
And do you
communities.
do you look for decision makers, practitioners, implementers? Help me
Yeah.
understand how do you think about like who should be part of this kind of like interface?
Yeah, some of it, to be honest, we're even rethinking that at the moment as to what are all the right constructs and structures. But at a simple level, yes, there's a construct for decision makers. That's one type of discussions. That's our customer advisory board, and then we do have other forums for whether it's more kind of the next level. We've got things like our boot camps, whether it's architecture boot camps that's more focused on architecture. We've got these champions communities, which are people driving, from various roles, driving adoption inside their organization. So it starts to get quite varied.
And do you guys internally manage those kind of cohorts separately? Because decision makers versus champions. Let's take that for example. You have
Yeah,
champions who are actually practitioners who
yeah,
want to get shit done, and then decision makers, well, they just want to talk. But
yeah,
tell me how you manage those two kind of like kind of different spectrums,
yeah.
really.
And then there's a blend also, right? Some of these are like, because there's, when we say decision makers, there might be the CIO level decision maker. That's a very different altitude than someone who's going to be, maybe an IT director. We are probably a bit more at the IT director lens. And then some of the IT directors are, when we say, especially we've seen, has been fun to see, really hands-on, right? They'll come in, and in fact, some of these events we've been even doing quick prototyping, even though the focus is not a training event. It's fun to see
Mhm.
people even get hands-on. So I think to me, it's more the principle that we use around it. So one example would be, hey, this forum, is for folks that have more of a decision making, decision making in their role. But at the same time, we want to have places where they can nominate, or we have these three really interesting architects or folks doing work. Where can we drop them in? And maybe that's a slightly different forum. And honestly, some of those we learn over time, right? What's the right? There isn't the honest answer is there's not going to be a fine line, um, especially in these areas that's moving that fast. There's not going to be a clear line that this person is a decision maker, this person is a practitioner. Those lines do start to get a bit blurred. The other vector there, actually, to be honest, is company size as well, which gets quite nuanced. How do you balance that? And
so do you guys kind of cohort them differently, like small, medium, large companies in a different set of cohorts, and how you interact with each of these? Internally, you have a separate segmentation model, obviously.
At the broad Microsoft level, yes. I think for us, it's the enterprise. Largely, we're enterprise focused, so it'll be the large, biggest customers are our top enterprise customers. Those are the ones that are representing the volume of business. At the same time, if we think it from a feedback perspective, I think, do we have the right representation? So I like to keep diverse representation from different cohorts. From a feedback perspective, that might be more representative, because we're not going to be able to, in the same structurally, have every small business, for example, in that same forum. So there are different ways we outreach.
Let's switch gears. On the other side, you have are you representing a wide variety of products? What sort of products, and you have product managers on each of these products, right? You said you're part of the engineering org, so you have a whole bunch of product managers on this side, really, right?
So our focus is, and this is where there's more and more of things that are interconnected. But if you think of at least organizationally, our focus will be the business application space. So Dynamics 365, Power Platform, now Copilot Studio, these are the common extensively layers across the board. So behind that, of course, each one has product leaders, their engineering teams, the right representatives. We get them engaged. And then there are, again, I would think it from the diversity point of view. There are people in different cohorts, maybe not deep customers of. Let me take an example. Like, someone might be a really deep Azure customer, right? They may not be. They're probably in the Azure cab, which makes sense. Structurally, but we'll have a few people from there that are extending what they're doing with Power Platform that we might invite into our cabs. So there's not a right answer. It's like, kind of, I keep going back to, in some sense, I'm looking at the title of this session, right? You put customer advisory boards, what, when, how, you're missing a key piece there.
Why? Maybe why?
So, at some level, we're diving deep into the what in that sense. To me, all the why has been that much more important. Yes, the actual structures, will keep changing, but it's like, comes back to why. Why are you, and not why in just let's put some goals on a board, because then we need to figure out, like, actually, like, why. Vivek, why do you need a customer advisory board for your company? What is it?
I'll tell you why I need one, because I want to develop products that are very, very aligned to the customers. That's it. And that's kind of the simplest way I can describe it. So
then if you were to hold an event, why is it more about, let's say you had hosted an event and you had all of them super excited about this new feature that you're coming out with. But none of them have, and so they love it, you love it, they're all excited, we're going to go back and go deploy this feature. But they haven't actually given you any feedback on your 10 features that they're struggling with. Is that a successful customer advisory board or not?
Probably not. I think what the customer advisory board is also, I also think that gives our customers a forum, a very practical forum to kind of surface issues, surface kind of like needs versus output, or needs versus the jigsaw puzzle is like, hey, here's what I'm trying to do, here's what you got, we got to see if we can fit it, really, right? A lot of times this is done through our customer success team and customer, so what I am trying to do with the customer advisory is reduce the distance between product and engineering and customers. So right now, the way a lot of feedback from most companies is, account managers, salespeople, customer success team are interfacing with customers, and you have the R&D team on the other side. It's product managers and engineering team on the side. So there's like it's almost like two hop really, right? So um, and I think that customer advisory boards like reduces one of the hops, really, literally, right? It's like, okay, so you create a forum where, like, okay, if you have a problem right now, on a very practical level, you think about it, like if we're using live stream, and we have an issue, we have something that we think we should have, like we'll talk to our account manager. Our interface is through the account manager slash customer success slash support organization of this tool, not really the product management team, not really the engineering team, really. So they're one layer removed. So what I'm trying to do at Questro is really kind of remove that barrier, right? Like connect the customers directly to product managers, connect the customers directly to almost the engineering team also, realistically. I have a question regarding that. Like, do you guys like invite engineering team members, engineering leads also, or is it just product managers and product leaders? Help me understand how you think about it. Is it open for engineering also?
Yep, it's both. And again, I'm separating out what might be the in-person, an event, which is obviously fixed seats, that it's limited by physically number of people that can come in. But that's why I'm a big fan of these virtual groups that continue on. And virtual being, there's different styles of virtual. There's the one-way content. I'm going to come and talk and share all my latest capabilities. That's great. People need that. But really, this virtual of how do you have a two-way conversation in virtual, so that literally if you're feature product area that includes PM, product managers, design, engineering, that you can come in as a part and say, hey, we want to talk to 80, 100 customers, go bounce off some ideas and get feedback pretty
Do they
quickly.
create like a virtual team space for that? Is that on a practical level, like
Yeah.
some group within like some group within Power BI or wherever it is, really, some team, they say like, look, we want to talk to 10 customers or 15 customers, and they create like a virtual space for themselves
Yeah.
with X number of customers, and engineering UX and product is part of that space. Is that how you think about it?
So either they're created as like one-offs, either that becomes there's enough of that's needed, and so there's a one-off event for a particular topic that gets done, there are ongoing groups, like an ongoing focus group rhythm that they can tap into, or we've got ongoing kind of communities or virtual communities of people with a certain profile that they can tap into, or there's
So
the
tell me a little
large.
bit about the ongoing focus group. How do you execute it? Tell me, let everybody know
Yeah, so
how
I
do you
think
run the ongoing focus group?
so there are a few forums, right? At Microsoft, there's the MVPs forum, the Microsoft MVPs who are really on the front lines of going out and talking about the technology, educating others. They're one great forum, and then there's an ongoing series of calls that happens with the MVP group where they get to exchange, feedback. And then we've got certain similar to that, certain customer communities, and literally it's what you're describing. There's some forum like a Teams group. They can come in every week. We can schedule a call. We come and talk to them about certain capabilities. They provide feedback. We use some virtual polling tools, which helps. There's something we built in, and in some sense, I think our role, is to facilitate that conversation. I'm a big, maybe I've overly drunk the Priya Parker Kool-Aid. If you listen to Priya Parker's, have you heard of Priya Parker? I would.
No. Tell me more.
She wrote this book, The Art of Gathering, and she has a site and work she's done and talks around that. But some of the principles she uses, I really aligned with. Like, one key thing she even starts her book with is that when we come to events, and it's sort of naturally, it's even the place at which we started chatting here, right? We come to it from this mindset of being a product manager or program manager, and I want to think about the logistics and how many tables do we need, and et cetera, et cetera. Super obviously that's a key part of the event, but maybe we don't pay enough attention to this angle of the why, right? Like, what are we actually trying to do here? And then I like, there's a line she has where she starts off, where she comes at it not just as a organizer or coordinator, but as a facilitator, trying to broker a conversation. And the mindset of I think her scope is broader. She talks about it's not just enterprise types of groups, it's any kind of gathering, which can get pretty big. But the mindset that she comes at it, I definitely resonated with. And I think that's the that's the kind of approach that I would hope we bring more and more of, right? So even when you ask yes, we'll keep learning, should it be a Viva Engage group, or should it be a Teams group, or should it be something
Right.
else? One thing I see happen quite a bit, which is a risk from chats like this as well, is when someone looks at this and goes, hey, I'm this company. I heard other successful companies like Vivek's do a cab. Therefore, I should do a cab. What is a cab? Let me go read up some instructions. Here are 10 steps to run a cab. I run those 10
Right.
steps, and then I think I have a cab, right? And that could be, I would humbly argue that, yes and no, that it's not like you had a really clear perspective of why you want to do a cab, right? And bringing those, not everyone may have that. Cab is just a name we've thrown on this particular
Right.
gathering of decision makers. And I think for folks or any of us, just really think about what do you want to do. So like bringing, I really like what you said, like shortening that gap between where our
Mhm.
customers are at and where the people making the decisions for product are at, right? Like clear focus for us. To me, I think it's not one or the other. It absolutely complements. Like you need these other forums where you're getting a whole bunch of input, and then we need some space where people can actually talk, either virtually like this or in person, because
Right.
you're kind of getting the emotion behind it. You're getting the why. You can go back. Hey, we've heard from all our data that these
Right.
three things are just not quite working out. Is that really true? Or,
Right.
you know,
Let me
then,
switch gears. Let me quickly switch gears, right? So I can see the benefit for product managers, engineers, right? Tell me, do you guys use the CAP for marketing also? Does marketing also come to you and say like, hey, I want a case study. I want to showcase somebody in front of, the big boss. The big boss wants to present something and the customer does something. Does marketing, so marketing is a completely different set of requirements, a completely different, needs. Do you guys use it for marketing too?
yeah, I think of it as depends how we define marketing, but as an event, and I think this is where it's good to be quite clear for us that it's not a marketing event. There are other events. In
Mhm.
fact, there are many really good. There's like AI tours and other things going on, which are a set of series of sales and marketing events. This because the focus is really on is the product working for you? Everything you just said, right? Give us that real world perspective of how it's working out and have this direct connection. I think the marketing output I think of slightly differently. While the connections and relationships that we build in these, and then we know what these customers are doing, they'll often be the key advocates. So if we're going to have a conference where we want to have some customers on stage, naturally we
Right.
might reach out to these customers and ask them if they'd be interested in coming on. So it's not linear. It's not like the event itself is a marketing event at
But
all.
you have
And
a forum to go to, right? That's the benefit of having and building this relationship that
I
you
think
you've talked a
so.
lot
I,
about, right? Like
I
you
think so.
have a ready-made forum
Yeah.
to say like, hey, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do a new launch, or I'm going to do a new partnership discovery, or whatever it is. There's a forum to go to that you can go to your, at least your engaged customers and say, hey, look,
Yeah.
we're going to do something. Is this interesting? And then you get in there, right?
Yeah, so I think that's important though that the event itself, the engagement, this comes back to like the purpose of why we're doing it. The reason is not necessarily to go. We're not there is not
Got it.
starting with let's go find a number of
Mhm.
people who want to participate in marketing efforts. That's a different
Right.
purpose.
And
This
that's why
is
you're part of the engineering org. I would argue that it's a very good reason why you are part of the engineering org, not part of the
yeah
marketing org, right? So you're fundamentally an R&D team. At its at
yeah
its you're reporting up to R&D or a product,
absolutely.
or effectively R&D product, and you're not part of the sales and marketing organization to begin
Yeah.
with.
Although
But
we
they
work
can
super closely with them, right? That's
yeah,
the part where
there is a
we
there's
work
a tapping
super,
element. There's a
yeah,
tapping
super
element to it, right?
closely.
Right.
Yeah, with figuring out
I
okay.
think it's important, right? I think it is important. I'll tell you, I've tried to do cabs in the past and I've failed. And more often than not, the ones that failed is really, I looked at it as like a pure marketing play, realistically, right? And I think a lot of companies do. They're like, hey, look, let's get a bunch of customers. Maybe we can sell them. We can do a bunch of things with them. But if you start out with marketing as your primary vehicle, then I think it's a fail. It's not gonna work. I think, and then when we switched gears and said like, no, it is really kind of bridging the gap between, for me, it was really bridging the gap between actually engineering and the customers. I really want to bridge the gap between engineering for, even product is there, but I really want the engineering team to really, really understand. Um, how customers are using the product and where they're stumbling and where they're not stumbling and why they're stumbling. So if I can bridge that gap, then again, for me, it's an efficiency model, right? If the engineers can truly understand why customers are doing what they're doing, then it accelerates innovation, accelerates change. You can go faster. Uh, and every time I've used marketing as a vehicle, and it's been a shit show. It just kind of doesn't work.
Yeah. I'll add one more piece for you on the thinking there. It's like, because you have that, I mean, you're keen to do that, then the question is, how do you do it? Because it's not necessarily you as, CEO is not going to be setting that up. You need to find someone in your team that's going to do it.
Yep.
Someone many levels down like me is sitting there that you want
Ah,
to
that's right. That's right. That's why you and I go drinking together.
but the so I think this is the other part of it, which I feel, I genuinely mean this, I feel fortunate to be in a place where there's like the leadership really buys into the customer connection a real way, not just because it is a different, like everything you just mentioned. If you are like, we want to set this all up, but end of the day it's just about making sure that it's a marketing event, as you put it, it's going to have a different vibe to it. Then no, we really do want to build longer term relations with customers. Here's why it's valuable. It's a two-way thing. And then how do you set that up as a leader internally, right, of the org? Who are you? How do you identify the right person to do it so that they're not just going and following a checklist and setting it up, but they're actually kind of finding a way to play out your way and staying true to
Is
that
there, is
purpose?
there, is there a way? I mean, we live in the world of metrics and fucking KPIs and shit like that, right? So leadership buys into a customer connection. Like, how do you define? Do you guys have anything internally that
I wish
you can share? There's like, I'm deeply connected to the customer. It's like, your
I
the
wish
number
I
of
had a.
hearts, the number of hearts that they send you. So.
So there are measures in terms of how much participation they have, how much feedback we've gotten, all of that stuff. But end of the day, I think this is the vein where I think, to me at least, the storytelling helps. Because over time, you clearly see that some of our highest value um, stories, and story not just being a case study, right? Written
Mhm.
case study, that's part of the storytelling motions. But the actual, what people are really doing, understanding it deeply, those being told over and over. When you ask someone about, what is, I use some of these common examples, but what, in the early days of Power Platform, what is Power Platform? Well, it's this idea that you're democratizing building solutions. Okay, someone from like the security guard from Heathrow actually built apps, and here's what they look like. And then it wasn't just about Summit. It's, here's are these pro developers and enterprise solutions built with the same platform. And so those, I think, over time, when the community starts to, literally not only share their own stories, but come and bring other people in and saying, hey, so and so has a really good story. You guys should connect with them and keep this long term relationship going. I think that tends
Mhm.
to, and that tends to help. But it's a bit, again, this is just me, it's a bit philosophical. If you start with that angle, maybe it'll fail. Like, if
Mhm.
that's a good outcome, and how do you
Right.
how do you
But it's
predict it
good to have the
upfront?
customer connection. I mean, you shared, like, there are unsolicited customers are posting kind of content on LinkedIn on how important and how when you guys run your cabs, they are, you're not obviously telling State Farm to go out and post something. I saw something from State Farm, one of your customers. They were raving about how they were able to not only connect with folks like yourselves and the product managers and the engineering team, but also other folks who are in their same position, and they were raving about it really on LinkedIn. I saw that. And and that's a good example of a customer connection, a true customer connection, really, right? Like, it's not, it's obvious that they're not being paid to do that. It's not in part of some fancy ad. It's just that they're saying that, look, I came here and I was able to learn from my peers, and I was able to give feedback and affect some change and so
Yeah.
on. So
No,
that's a
that
good example of, like, in terms of customer connection, really, right?
and part of that then is when we think of the it's right sizing the investment as well, right? So it's not like you would, like you're saying, you wouldn't go and put like tons and tons and tons of people to run something like this. How do you have, but what is the right size of investment you want to make to help foster
And the
this thing.
quality of the people too, right? I mean, the kind of people that can run communities need to have some empathy and some level of kind of like softness, not a bunch of assholes like me.
You got to put. I think you do have to. I think you have to put your own personal agendas aside a little bit. Like I think
That's
that's
true.
like we
That's
just
a good one.
it's
That's a good
just
one. You really have to think about the connection point and the empathy behind, like, okay, what are we doing for the customers? If you don't have that level of empathy at that point, then you're bound to kind of like distort that community very quickly.
Yeah, and
Um,
playing both roles. Like I found myself at some of these events, we're certainly
mhm.
champions of our own product, right? So we come and say, hey, folks who are there, like here are the 5 new cool things coming out. Here's how you should think about it. And we're all excited. So maybe that's me putting on a little bit more of the Microsoft hat. And then on the
Right.
other hand, we hear from maybe we're having like, and this is probably a real example. There's like a little networking cocktail hour and 4 or 5 customers that haven't met with each other before are complaining about something, right? And then
Right.
partly of our role is like going and tapping into that and saying, hey, why don't all of you bring it up at this meeting tomorrow? Because I think we really need to hear about that in the way that you guys are just chit-chatting in a side conversation. So,
Right.
it's
Right.
kind of putting both those hats on while somewhat staying in this, whatever you call it,
That's
neutral.
good. You're like a little kind of arbitrator of information as well as love. There you go, dude. You gotta get some connection point in there, so
Yeah,
you can connect the two together.
you try and learn. It's been fun. I mean, some of this also
How
because
long have you been doing it, Samir? How long have you guys been part of this? Or you said,
so
was this group before you? Did you start the group? Was this group
you
before for Power BI?
I
Power
mean,
Platform,
customer
rather?
advisory boards is not new, right? I was like
Right.
relatively new to it. I think the aspect, which again, what we're talking about here is broader. It's like the community building and
Yep.
customer advisory boards are just one format in there. I came back. I mean, honestly, I left Microsoft and I didn't think I was going to come back. And I came back because this role seemed different. I came back more in a part, vendor
Mhm.
capacity, helping out, and then things grew. So in my case, it was a bit organic. It didn't come in with, it wasn't like I was
Right.
hired to run this.
Obviously, it was working, so everybody thought like, let's go do double down on it, really,
So
right? So
some
that
things
was that
worked.
was
Yeah, some things worked, and very much was then, and it's not. I did some things, and then there's obviously the larger
that's good.
team.
That's
Uh,
good. That's a good segue also, and we'll wrap up in a minute.
yeah.
Like you don't have to kind of say like, "Hey, we're gonna do this big scab thing." You guys started off pretty small, as you were only part time, and you were just even a contractor, quite frankly, right? So you came in as a contractor or a consultant to help out, and then that thing grew into its own team
Yeah, I almost
as
came in as
it
part
was
of the team
successful.
not to do this part, but then as
Okay.
we start, so we had the luxury, I would say, that the technology itself, it was the early days of Power Apps, and we were a
Mhm.
small team, small Power
Right.
Cat team, and so we
Right.
did have the luxury that you get to grow it from the start, which was
Right.
helpful. It's a little different than when you're already trying to come in and there's something scaled up, and because of that,
Got it.
we could keep experimenting and growing. And then one of those things was, hey, there are these sets of customers, we're learning about their stories, why don't we bring them together? And then that somewhat, and then we started putting structure around it. So we came at it a little opposite of first putting in a lot of structure.
That's good.
Um,
At least you prove the worth, and then it became bigger. So thank you again, Sammy. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. It was good chit chatting with you. And then of course, I'll meet you in Seattle every time I go there. And if you come down to the Bay Area, then we'll meet
yeah.
up. Thank you so much. Good times.
No, thanks for this again. Apologies for all the audio stuff to
Don't worry
start with,
about it.
but this was fun. We should do it again. Maybe you
Absolutely. I'll keep.
turn the table and I get to ask you some more questions.
You can do that too, but we'll do that next time. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.